Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video, and today I have Andrew with us today. He is an epic jungling player, one of the most spicy decks I've literally ever seen. He came second today, definitely did an absolutely amazing job. What did you lose to actually?
Number on Eldritch.
So like, that's very explanatory, but I'm sure it was like a very close game, right?
It actually was. It went to game 3, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a tough game. I lost from my own misplay, so thankfully the deck is actually working just fine.
The deck is great, it just like...
Yeah, it was just my own mistakes that kind of like caused everything, right? So I'm really, I think the deck needs a little bit more fine tuning, but you know, definitely can't complain with the way it is right now, so... Definitely
performed well today.
Yeah, it did.
Got it. Any shout-outs, anything before we get into the video?
So some of you may already know me. My name is AlphaYGO. Back at it again. You know, check me out sometime.
Oh, I'll link you in the description.
Awesome, you know, so...
Sick.
Just want to jump right in?
Cool, let's do this.
Alright, so obviously it's a 60 card list. Before I was running 50 because I felt like you didn't need to run the full 60 count, but mathematically I added more stuff in to kind of balance it out more. So you guys will see in a bit. So let's see. So for the main normal summon we have 3 black metal. I apologize, one is just super randomly, but this is a 1 card combo, right? For the people who kind of already know what Dragon Link does, you already know the power of these normal summons. And the next card you would assume is safer, but I actually ran Chambermaid. It's a more budget alternative, so big shout out to the people who want to run more like, you know, budget friendly lists, right? And there is an argument for why you run this card over Safer, which is it's better against Ashe. So like against Ashe in Safer, you lose your body, so you can't make Striker Dragon, but this, even if it gets Ashe, if you have an extender, you still have full Dragon Link combo.
And it does basically the same thing, right?
Yeah, like you just want to fill your deck with the optimal amount of starters, extenders, and hand traps, right? This accomplishes the same thing, and thankfully, it just accomplishes the same thing. Dragon Link just wants you to have 2 dragons on the board, and that's it, right?
Yes.
So for the black metal part, you obviously have Red MD, which, you know, is part of that, you know, easy 2-card combo.
It's a solid printing.
Yeah. No, I didn't get the errata. And funny enough, I run just one random, like, vanilla Red Eyes. It's a normal summonable Red Eyes card. It's a dark for Chaos Space, and the real reason for this is just to keep my hand size healthy, because sometimes you gotta like use Dragon Ravine, you gotta use some other stuff, so you want to keep your hand size like optimally nice. So following that, we have some extenders. So for the monster portion, we have 3 Noctovision.
Ooh, this card's so
good.
Noctovision
is so good. Like, it's really good, so you obviously run it at 3. And it just it's kind of like I think in Warrior, it's basically like Charge Warrior or like Junk Forward or whatever that thing is, and it just it replaces itself by drawing you a card, right? So it's really good. Following that, we have 3 Tracer. It's still a rocket based deck, and Tracer is just fantastic for making Brawl Savage. Initially, I was also running Rocket Synchron. Rocket Synchron's nice because if you don't see your tuner, you can make Fiber with a quick launch, which is really nice. And you don't want to. Sometimes you don't want to waste your Tracer. Just a random level 4 because this will make you Brawl Savage, right? You pop something with Tracer, Savage. I just added in an extra copy of Magna Rocket because from my 50 card variant before, I had to add more starters, so I added in Dragon Shrines, which normally goes for Dark Worm, right? But I wanted to add in more copies for more targets for the shrine, so I added in the extra copy of Acerata. You normally run 1, and I didn't run these 2, but to balance out the more ability for my starters to be relevant, I added in 1 extra Acerata and an extra target, and this has some niche like situations where it can work out.
Now, this actually seems like a bit of a bigger rocket lineup. Do you feel that's the case, or did it work for you inside?
So the reason why I did this, because mathematically, before I had 10 just good stuff cards, right? Like, you know, 10 hand traps, basically 10 hand traps in a 50 card deck. It worked out pretty okay because I went X1 last time as well. Lost to the same person actually, you know, just cursed. But so to keep the math the same, I wanted my hands to have more hand traps in them, so I needed to bump that up. So I bumped that up to around 14, but then I didn't want to dilute the amount of starters and extenders I had, so I had to add in more. So the only good ones, in my opinion, are like Dragon Shrine or Unexpected Dive. So I went Dragon Shrine, and with Dragon Shrine, it lets me play an extra Router. But Router is also an extender because if you open one of the rockets, it just makes 2 dragons on the field, right? So in the end, I felt like the reasoning behind it was good enough to go for it.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, so Obviously, Collapse Serpent and River Buster, pretty damn good cards. We go right rose and red rose. So we cut Maiden and Black Garden from this, like the normal FDK and like Shin Ping's list. I cut those, but these are still really good because no matter what, even if you open them, they're not the best normal summons, but they can still make Striker Dragon and plus Extenders full combo.
This isn't the FDK, by the way. This is not the FDK.
This is not the FDK. This is not Shin Ping's list. This list is heavily inspired by. It's not the best source, but I kind of researched like what people were playing on DB, like high rated, and like I kind of like pieced together the ways they want to play the deck. I look at Duelist Academy a lot too, so I kind of see their perspective of how the deck.
Yeah, this isn't Shin Ping's album list. This is much better.
This is like my own take on it, right? So I find that like the deck's biggest benefit is you can make Herald really early, which is really nice. And even if Link Cross or Romulus gets stopped, Needle Fiber lets you pull this off. And plus that token from Link Cross, to be more exact, if Romulus gets stopped, you can still make Fiber, bring this out, make a Herald, bring this out, still have dragons, just be on your merry way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it looks a bit weird to be running this, and you can argue for cutting them, but it works out just fine in a 60 card list. Obviously, the one thing you don't want to see, but again, it's normal some of the dragons.
It's a 60 card deck. You're not gonna draw it.
Yeah, one Brotar, one Levianeer, and one Phalanx. These are all just one of like this searches out Tracer, this searches out Levianeer. This is like a bomb card. This is entry requirement. This is also part of that Dragon Shrine package I was telling you about, and just helps to start. The nice thing about all these things, besides the 11 years, they're all still normal summonable. They can still make Striker Dragon. One extender, you have full combo still, right? Mm-hmm. Moving on to hand traps, I run 3 Ogre.
How do you feel about this card, other than like Network? Does it have any good interactions for you?
I think so, because like just hitting Fiber, even if they get to recur the thing back, losing that body is really important. Losing a Link 2 for a Link Cross, or losing that machine for our Rorodon is still really powerful. Mm-hmm. Ash, because it's like the most generic one. It just covers all bases. I do run a bit more generic good stuff, but I just organize the monster spells and traps, right? Yeah. So, following that, we have Quick Launch, Extender, which is fantastic. Chaos Space, I put this in the 1.5 starter category. I put like Black Metal and Chambermaid, but you just need to discard outlet, right? This lets you play through absolutely everything. This lets you play through Nibiru, and your opponent's like, I can't believe I just Nibiru'd you, and you ended on the full combo, right? So, XD. Monster Reborn, very powerful.
LOB?
Yes, sir. 1 for 1 because this is another starter. And before, like I mentioned, I fit these 3 in just to facilitate more starters for the Dark Worm, etc., etc. The more undesirable cards, Hospitality, you don't want to draw it, you want to search it off Chambermaid. Boost after launch, Lance, and Ravine. You run 2 targets because sometimes you draw 1, and the versatility of having both is nice because this dumps Absa Router for you, this gets you more rockets, all good. So within that 6 hand traps you saw, I also include Called. Called isn't a hand trap by any means, obviously, but the reason I have it here is as quote-unquote non-Dragon Link cards add up to around 14 in my deck. And these are the cards I want to see. I opted for 3 here because
you want your place to resolve.
I want to place a result, but it's also like it has good niche interactions, like just flipping on a block dragon, just flipping it on like a Golden Lord. These are big tempo swings you can have, even if you don't use them to just accomplish your combo, right? It's just, it's still a good card, right? And because I was mostly scared of the Numeron matchup, I put in 2 Chalice.
The spice over here.
Yeah, so the Chalice, you can, like people, the reason I don't run Gamma is because I just don't like seeing Gamma in my hand. It's just really painful to like opening your hand when you're going first and you don't have Chaos Space, going second where you've already used yours and you have just extra copies for no reason. I just wanted to mitigate as many bricky hands as possible, so I got rid of that. And of course 3 Imperm. So it seems weird, but basically if you do the math, I have 14 cards which are not Dragon Link oriented, but you just rather see them in the hand, right? The percentage basically makes it so that in a 60 card list, you get to see like 1 to 2 hand traps like 60% of the time, which is pretty good enough, or not good enough, but it's important for this format. You need to see some kind of interaction. And the argument for why not Nibiru, why not this, why not that, it's because like I felt as though that what I had so far was accomplishing enough, and I just had like more of these kind of cards for like what was like niche situations, right? So
also he used a calculator, so that proves that the deck is good.
Yeah, a lot of players tend to not do this, but using a hypergeometric calculator is very important.
Definitely.
Just seeing possibilities and ratios is very powerful. So
onto the extra deck over here.
My apologies.
No problem.
So for the extra deck, we have 2 Striker Dragon. You kind of need 2 because you want to use it for arrows during the midst of your combo, which is very important. We have Romulus. This is like the best link monster essentially because it gets to search you the things like searching your lands and getting you failings. That's like oh my throat's so dry. Sorry.
No problem. I'll edit it out. It's okay.
Yeah. So it's very powerful. Just absolutely full combo. Link Cross, the next step forward, just makes you Herald, which is really nice. Crystron, generic Link 2 Dragon. This doesn't really. This can be replaced, but you want to Link 2 generic Dragon Link 2 just to accomplish a combo. An LP and a Pisty, of course, you know.
Mandatory.
Hopefully
LP
they don't
is the
get
best
hit.
card.
We have Heretic Seal. This is what you usually try to end on. Arnie, calm down. Arnie, you're talking too loud. Okay. Okay, Seal, because obviously you want to end on this. You can end on an Apollo, but typically I just try to end on Seal just because it's really powerful. It floats into a Brotar, which can search your Levy. It can search you into Absa Router, which floats into a Tracer. So Apollo is the one thing you can cut, so you can forget about this. But other than that, we have Union Carrier for the Buster. Brawl Sword because in this deck it's better than Access Code because dragons, right?
Yeah.
And for Synchro, we have Metal Marcher, Herald for that intermediate play for the first negation. And of course, Brawl Savage, like, you know.
Shout out to the mat.
Shout out to the mat. So, and then of course, this is like the one thing, this is the one big flex spot, and it's nice because it's like the most expensive card in here probably. So it's nice that like the most expensive card happens to be the one you can like kind of flex out, right? But it's just more nice for majority situations.
Cool.
And then I think we're getting kicked out soon, so I'm gonna just roughly show you. Side deck is like relative to every person, right? I try to cater my side deck
Very
to
standard stuff.
what I feel is important. So, like you can argue that some of these cards are either good or bad for the format. I just kind of made it custom to my local scene. So, you know, this is kind of generic stuff.
Yeah. So the third chalice over here.
Yeah, third chalice. You know, red reboot Pachytrops and notoriously good. That's where they're at 1.
Yeah. Very solid side deck though.
Yeah, all I care about, like, I'm really confident going first. It's a combo deck, right?
Yep.
My deck is made to go absolutely, like, essentially making that giant board is basically FTK. And the hand traps deal with a lot of these situations, especially if you get to keep them in hand. But the side deck cards here just assure that I get to break boards and just play myself in OTK. Or just, you know, reestablish a board so they don't have any options.
Yep. Got it. Well, thank you so much for the deck profile. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Once again, shout out to Andrew for being on the channel. And of course, I will catch you guys in the next video. All right. Peace.